Good afternoon, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. My name is Dr. Martin Zahl. My journey began at Butterworth Hospital in Grand Rapids, Michigan on May 12, 1970. I was the middle of 4 boys. I had 2 older brothers that were twins. They were about 3.5 years older than me, and I had a younger brother who was a couple years younger than I am. When I was 4 years old, we moved up to Allendale here. We were about a mile from the college, and I had woods and swamps and the river down there to run around and tore a lot of things up. We ran wild and had a lot of things we'd get away with. There was nobody witnessing us, and my poor mom didn't have a clue. So when I was in 2nd grade, I read a book, and this is the most significant thing that I can think of that could stick out in my life. It was a book on the U.S. Marine Corps. And these people that were in it said stories of themselves. I mean, these guys had things hanging out of them, you know, and they're still fighting, they're still doing what they got to do. They inspired me. And I mean, to know that they're giving their lives to save their friends and their brothers and their, even a little boy back home reading in 2nd grade, you know, this book about this, and they're somebody to look up to. So at that point, when I was in 2nd grade, that's when I made the choice to join the Marine Corps. I was like, that's what I'm going to be, that's what I want to be. So when my whole life was kind of started there, that was a motivational thing to how I shaped what I was doing in my life. It wasn't an easy decision. My family was poor. We didn't have a lot of, kind of similar to what you were saying, maybe. Didn't have a lot. I was in, by the time I got clothes, they were the 2nd hand-me-down. You know, both my brothers had it, and I wore it, and then my younger brother got the new stuff, you know. So I had to make do with what I got, and it was out of style and out of date. Pushed myself in school harder than anybody else. I had to beat them. If I was in sports, I had to win. If I was in scholastic things, I had to get the better grades. I just had to be, I was just always seemed to be one step higher that I was trying to get to, and I just couldn't attain what I wanted. I always wanted to be the best. I topped it all up. I was the littlest guy in school, but I had a brain on me, so I learned to work around that. I allowed myself no fear. When I was, anything, you dare me to do anything, I was going to do it. That didn't just include like scary things. That includes strange foods. My 3 brothers ganging up on me was no thing. That was to me a challenge. So I had to beat that. Fear Factor. You guys watch Fear Factor, maybe? Well, that would have been a breeze for me. My kids even say to me now, like, "Dad, you should join that, Dad. You could win that." Yeah, that's no problem. I've eaten all kinds of stuff like that. When I was on 18th birthday, my 18th birthday, that was my gift to myself. I went and joined up in the Marine Corps. And that was the best birthday I'd ever had. I thought it was the best experience of my life going into the Marine Corps. Boot camp was a breeze for me. I didn't have a problem with it. I had, the last 3 weeks I had pneumonia. And so I was combating that, and that's really tough when you're getting the physical therapy or physical part of it, and you're getting tested. And then you got to run with pneumonia and you're coughing stuff up. But I finished with my platoon. I had to push myself. I had to win it. I had to beat it. So, still wanting to do more, when I joined the Marines, I signed up with a unit called Reconnaissance. That's a Special Forces unit. And the induct into that is a half a day of calisthenics, obstacle courses, swim qualification, and at the end you run a 5-mile run with a 50-pound ruck on the back. And they put new fresh runners in, and I outran the fresh runners because I was just so determined, and I was going to be the best. And it got me some bonuses when I got into my platoon. As a recon Marine, I traveled the world. I went to about 10 different countries, and my job was basically to train other forces to do the fighting, basically. So, with most people, when they think about the military travel, they envision men going to a different country, and what do? They hit the bars. They go from bar to bar to bar. And that wasn't me. I'm a Christian, and sitting in a bar is a waste of time and money. I just feel that to do that, waste time, the opportunities that you have. So it was a privilege to me. I learned that if you say to the people of the area, just learn to say hi and thank you in their language, or my name is some, they'll open right up to you, and they'll show you things that you don't get to see normally if you sit in a bar and waste your time there. So I got to see things like when I was in, let's say, the Philippines. Their houses were made of the stuff that we were throwing out, our MRE boxes, our shell casings from around. That's what they made, what they lived in out of. And I saw poverty that I couldn't even imagine here. Maybe none of you have even imagined that much poverty. At the end of my 4 years, I had decisions to make. I had to either choose to stay in the Marine Corps or to get out and do something else. And at the time, my wife there was getting ready to get married, so that was a big deal, you know, with the decisions. But I decided to join up with the Navy SEALs. They messed up my paperwork so bad. I spent a whole year trying to get that, and I finally decided that's it. I'm not going to stay with the Navy. They had me at the group, basically machine gunner on a sub-tender, and that means you do nothing, absolutely nothing. So I had to decide, what do I want to do? And I decided that I wanted to go into surgery. I wanted to help people. So it was either, I had two options in my mind, and one was being a brain surgeon, one, you guys might think that's crazy, or a trauma surgeon, because I love the rush. But the perfectionist in me saw the brain surgeon. Luckily, I was smart enough to see myself as colorblind, and that doesn't go good with surgery, because you can't tell the difference between the nerves and the veins and the arteries and stuff. So I would have ended up probably hurting some people. so more research was needed than what I wanted to get into. I decided to go research different doctors and try and figure out what I really wanted to be. And that's where I ran into the local chiropractor. Does anybody know what the very worst question that you can ask a chiropractor is? And just guess what the worst question is. Anybody have any options? Well, I don't see any hands raised, but are you a real doctor? Yep, you got it, exactly. I've been asked that so many times, and I was the one that asked it. But I've been paid back in full by how many times that I've asked it. And are you a real doctor? It's like, they have about 400 more hours than a medical doctor. They can learn the same things. I can practice the same ways if I choose to, but you have to go to the right states to do it. And we're real restricted in Michigan. And knowing me a little bit, you know, I had to choose which is the hardest. And so that's what I picked. I picked Palmer, which is the Harvard of chiropractic colleges. At the time when I joined, it was rated the highest, the hardest. There was only two schools in the nation that were rated hard. They were Harvard Law and Harvard Med. So they started us out with 32 credit hours. It was a rough 5 years. I'm not a school person. I'm still in shock that I made it through. But chiropractic giving me a challenging way to help people. Every day I go about knowing I'm going to hear this. I'm going to hear someone saying, "Thank you, Dr. Zahl. This feels so much better." And to me, that's important. Making a difference in somebody's health and somebody's life is so important to me. I can't imagine a better job than chiropractic. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the best job in the world. When I was a little boy, I never expected to go this far. That one book influenced me to choose a path that inspired me to grow in ways I never planned. I'm thankful every day for the life that I've led and continue to live, and I appreciate the time to be here, guys. Let me know a little bit about it.